Significant thing happening in the world is climate change and how it will affect the whole earth. But how will this affect you? It may not affect you at this moment or even in your lifetime, but it will affect the future and younger generations. For my generation, this is a problem we have to solve. Going to the city and having to stay inside and to wear a certain kind of mask to protect yourself from toxic air, experiencing the ever-changing and increasing extreme weather, we all have seen or experienced the effects of climate change. To see the complete impact climate change has on the Earth, we will discuss the air we breathe, the water that covers 70% of the Earth, and where we call home, land. First we'll tackle air, then we'll take a deep dive into the ocean, then we'll go somewhere recognizable, land. According to the EPA, air pollution is a driving cause of climate change. Over 6,134 million tons of CO2 were pumped into the atmosphere in 2021. Air pollution doesn't just make the Earth hotter, it also kills. Breathing polluted air comes with many health problems that shorten the lifespan. PM 2.5, also known as fine particles, are found in dirty air. According to Parsons research, PM 2.5 are responsible for 6 to 7 million deaths yearly. Being exposed to heavy pollutants shortens your life, but it can also make being alive miserable. According to Tian, author of The Impact of Air Pollution on Residents' Happiness, when exposed to heavy concentrations of pollution, you will become more unhappy. Strangely, this has a considerable effect on the youth. Now imagine that your lifespan just got shorter and you feel more depressed and anxious, and that's just the beginning of your problems. Let's shoot straight down into the ocean and see how climate change affects the waters and the ecosystem and how it affects us on the surface. The ocean is the main component of all life on Earth. It covers 70% of Earth, but also absorbs 90% of all carbon emissions, which has side effects. Ocean warming is a real problem. Since it absorbs 90% of our greenhouse gases, it causes the waters to warm. According to NASA, 2021 was the ocean's warmest on record. Warmer oceans also cause devastating weather, from more tropical storms to extreme hurricanes. Coral reefs are an essential part of the ocean. You can think of it as an ocean city, but they are also very fragile to the changing climate. Coral bleaching is a result of high ocean temperatures. Coral reefs are hubs for local economies and for fish life. Some coral reefs can hold up to millions of fish, providing breeding grounds, homes, and hunting grounds for all marine life to call it home. And back to ocean warming. With warmer oceans, the oceans rise, rapidly melting ice caps and even the water expansion. With warmer ocean temperatures, the water increases in volume. That alone is responsible for over 1/3 of rising sea levels. All this causes marine life to be endangered, more intense storms that hit the shoreline, and a sinking of that same shoreline, and the loss of the Arctic ice. Air, water, but we're missing one. Let's go somewhere where we call it home, the land. I've talked about the effects of climate change in the air and in the ocean, but how will that affect us on the land? With hotter weather and water shortages, we can expect to experience more devastating droughts covering a larger area. Plants will dry up and pile up on the ground. One human error, an extra hot day, or a lightning strike can cause a forest fire. A forest fire is already bad enough, but if you add a long, hot, and a dry environment with it, it can become more monstrous, engulfing everything that it comes across. Plants also get affected. Like us, they can experience heat stress where they lose water, begin to wilt, and lose photosynthesis production. In a study by Louis, named significant reductions in crop yields in the United States, he saw a reduction in wheat growth by 5%, a decline in maize by 10%, and it's also a 10% decline in rice. Between 20 to 30% of all crop losses are due to climate change. Lower rainfall, lower crop yields, and more common forest fires. These are just some of the effects climate change has on the surface. Even though it's all true that not all global warming is due to human activity, and that Earth naturally produces greenhouse gases, whether it's from volcanoes, the Earth's core, or even changes in the sun. According to John Pierre, author of Why Don't People Believe in Climate Change, in a poll in 2021, 10% of American adults didn't believe in climate change. 25% thought climate change was a natural occurrence and humans don't have anything to do with it. And 14% were indifferent. That means that 39%, or 1 million or 129 million of American adults either don't think it's a problem or don't care, which is dangerous. According to a NASA study, in human history, we have increased the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere by almost 50%. And again, according to NASA, sun activity has caused climate change in the past, but since 1880, the sun activity has stayed relatively the same or even lowered, but Earth's temperature continued to rise. But I've talked for long enough. Let's finish things up now. I've talked about the effects of climate change, how it damages Earth, and how it affects not just particular creatures on Earth, but everything. CO2 emissions, and in turn, temperature will only grow from here. And with that, the problem will worsen and maybe become irreversible. I'm not trying to convince you to go fully green and you'll save the world. That's impractical and impossible. I urge you not to only think for yourself, but of everyone, current or future. Sons, daughters, younger brothers or sisters, parents, or even strangers. We all drink the same water, breathe the same air, and live on the same rock.